going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 25 video. And in today's video, guys, I'm going to be updating my ultimate guide to CFB player progression. Before we get into the video, as always, guys, give this video a big thumbs up. Can we get 500 likes in this video? I believe in the last one we got 1,000, so if you guys could, for the updated information, let's get 500 on this one. Comment down below anything else you have to add that you've learned over the last 5 months or so of playing this game. And of course, comment down below as well anything else that you've been doing to grow your players. Guys, don't forget, the website is coming soon. Hopefully by the time you're seeing this, it is out. If it's not, it's coming in the near future. But make sure to be watching the YouTube community tab. If you head on over there and go on my account on YouTube and go to the community tab, you'll see when the website drops, and on Twitter as well if you follow me over there. I will be releasing it over there first, only because I usually pre-record my videos a few days in advance. So when you're seeing these, you might slightly miss the release of the website. So the website will be containing exclusive spreadsheets, player calculators, CFB guide, all handwritten by myself, and plenty of other features, exclusive Discord membership to us to talk ball, talk CFB, talk league, talk recruits, join my league, etc. So make sure you guys stay on the lookout for that. It will be dropping in the next week or so, pending some technical difficulties that we were having. But let's get into it. All right, guys, so I made this video about 4 months ago, give or take, going through everything that I knew at the time. A lot has changed. I've learned so much more with the help of you guys, of course. You guys give me so much valuable information through all of your sims, plus my own. So we're going to be updating it. I want to preface this with some of the things that mattered a few months ago don't matter to me as much anymore. So if you're basing everything you do off of that video, make sure to watch this one all the way through so you do get it. So let's start with the first thing when developing players. First off, think for a second to yourself, what is the most important thing to you when developing players? A lot of people might say, oh, depth trait. I recruit my player. I look, if they have elite or they have star, they're good to go. If they have impact, they're okay. If they're normal, they're not touching the field. Some people say it's starting overall. Some people say it's the stars. Oh, you bring in a lot of 5-stars, they're going to develop. Other people say it's the motivator packages. There's so many things here that matter, but I'm going to start with the most important one, and that's going to be something you probably don't think. Their archetype. Their archetype is actually the most important indicative thing when it comes to organic player development. Now, let me describe what organic means. So organic player development means the player developing without you doing nothing, like nada, doing nothing, just existing. So the important thing there to think about is this. When you have a quarterback with elite dev, but he's a low overall, like 75, you have to work your ass off. You have to go ahead, for instance, like this guy. He's elite dev, he looks really good, but I'm going to have to put up a few K yard seasons, 30, 40, 50 touchdowns, Heisman, awards, for me to get him into the 90s, right? Because he's a scrambler dev. Now, you might be saying to yourself, wait, doesn't that apply to everyone? Yes, but some players organically will also grow, and these are when it becomes magical and when they grow like crazy. So let's start with the quarterback position. Field general quarterbacks grow way quicker than scramblers. So this means if you were to do nothing with both, right, you just sim the seasons, if you sim 2 different dynasties next to each other, Ebron as a starter and Udi's as a starter, and you sim 2-3 seasons, this guy will be a high 90 overall by like year 2 of his redshirt freshman sophomore season. Ebron will be a mid 80. So that means if you played with both of them and you put up equal, we're talking all things equal here, you put up 50 TDs with both, 4K yards with both, Udi's would be like 95 overall, Ebron will be an 87, 88. So you might be wondering why. So in this game, usually, or at least during the season, a player will upgrade their cheapest attribute. And they also have fast tiers or fast buckets. A bucket is this, like accuracy is a bucket, power is a bucket. So they have fast ones. So the way you know if they're fast or slow is like this. If they're at, right here, health is at tier 6, it's a 10 skill points to upgrade. That means it's a slow bucket. If you're halfway and it's over 10, slow bucket. Elusiveness, 2 right there. You have quickness at 8, that's a slow bucket because that means it's going to cost 8, 10, 12 to upgrade elusiveness. Accuracy is only 6 and it's almost maxed out, which means this is a fast bucket. So you can go through and count them. So he has a fast bucket, a slow bucket, a fast bucket, a slow bucket, a fast bucket, and a slow bucket. So elusiveness, IQ, and accuracy are the easiest things for him to upgrade. And accuracy is the most indicative stat of raising a quarterback's overall. So what does that mean? He's going to upgrade accuracy the quickest. He's going to upgrade it the easiest. Combine that with the fact that he's a quarterback, right? And you're going to be using him and he has star dev. This guy, if played with or simmed, will easily grow every single time to 90 overall. That's field general. Scramblers, if you notice, they usually cap out between 87 and 90 overall without fail, which means 1, they're not being drafted early because they're finishing around 87, 89, 90. So not being drafted as a top 3 round pick, which means you're not getting a boost to your other quarterbacks, which means your other quarterbacks aren't getting a huge offseason boost from drafted player boost. And that is why your quarterback scrambler pipelines keep dying short. Like, oh my gosh, they were so close to being elite. They're not making it there. A field general, you could just not play him. He could be on your bench and just get upgraded and they'll get up to 90. This guy was a 72 overall freshman and he went up to an 80. I think it's actually an 84. 73 overall freshman. He went up to an 84 in this first redshirt season for doing nothing. He never touched the field. Field general quarterbacks are a glitch, but there's a lot of positions like this. I'm not going to go into every single one. If you do want to know my breakdown on the easiest positions to grow, if you check out one of my last videos, I think it was 2 videos ago, the best archetypes to build in CFB 25. Check that video out after this one, of course. It should be a few videos back. That video breaks down every single position group and all of them. Now, if you want more specific in-depth information, you want access to all of this, the website that I mentioned at the beginning of the video will include all of my spreadsheets, all of the breakdowns, everything for you, fast buckets, slow buckets. It's really the ultimate cheat sheet to dominating your league, offline or online. So when that does drop, make sure you do go check out the website. That will break it all down, but I'm just breaking down to you today the factors of player development. The number one to me is archetype. Archetype matters so much because, like I said, all things equal, you don't play with either guy, the guy with the better archetype will grow quicker. You play with both of them, the guy with the other archetype will blow up. You play with one and not the other. Look. For instance, Ebron was a 79 overall freshman, and Udi's was like a 73, 74. He went up to an 84. He went up to an 80. Ebron went up 1. Udi's went up like 10. And this guy has elite dev Ebron, and this one doesn't. That's all you gotta know. So organically speaking, and just in general, archetype matters so much. Of course, you can force your way, but we're talking player development today. We're talking about the easiest ways to do it and the guides to everything that matters. So that's the first thing. Make sure you understand archetypes. Make sure to check out my website when it does drop. If you're seeing it, it should be dropped already at the point you're seeing this, and if it's not, it's coming soon. Make sure you check that out so you do understand how these spreadsheets work. And then the next thing is going to be, of course, your coaching packages. So you want to be following my ideal coach build. And again, another video I dropped about a week or so ago, going over the best coach build, my ideal coach build in CFB 25. The website also has those spreadsheets on there as well, breaking down the best coaching build for you. There's 2 breakdowns. One if you go the dream school CEO route, one if you don't. So make sure to check that out again. But if not, my video breaks it all down. So the top thing you want to do with coaching builds, of course, this is Brian Kelly. This is a pre-existing coach, so I don't have all the best stuff here, but, and that tells you a lot. What you want to be doing on the ideal coach build is you want to get to tier 3 for everything. So on the ideal coach build, I have you upgrading everything to tier 3 in this bucket, except for kickers and punters. And then in Master Motivator, you're not touching it because the only thing good here is going to be tier 3 and it's too expensive to get to. You combine that with a few other key aspects in coaching builds, and you're going to go a long way. So when developing players, archetypes matter the most. Second most is going to be this. So you're going to want to make sure that when you get your coaches, you upgrade that, like I said. But then when you also bring coordinators, make sure when you can't see their buckets or their tiers, but when you do go to buy a coordinator or to go sign one, you actually can see what their pie chart looks like. Make sure when you look at their pie chart, they're skewing heavy recruiter and motivator. You want one that does both, and if you can't get both, make sure you at least get one that skews one way very heavily. I know, of course, it's luck of the draw, but make sure you do that, and then don't fire them. I see this a lot. People keep firing their coordinators. Once you get one that's really good at recruiting or motivating, just keep him. They will grow. Like this guy went up to A prestige. He was like a C. He will grow to A prestige, and then you end up with a coach that ends up getting everything that you want plus more. So make sure you are doing it that way. You want to be doubling up, tripling up on your recruiting and your master motivator, well, your regular motivator bonuses. If you do all of that, if you follow the archetypes and then you follow the motivator bonuses, because you also will get your draft bonus on pay it forward on the first tier, you're gonna be going a long way. Because now you're setting yourself up to get the bonus XP for drafted because you're bringing in players. Another thing, guys, oftentimes when you're drafting your quarterback, you may tell me, or recruiting your quarterback, you may tell me, I only play with scramblers, I can't play with field generals. That's fine. Always bring in a field general, like a 4-star field general that no one wants, because like you see with UDs, what I'm doing there is he's an 84, but if I just bring him in there, by next season, he may go up to an 87, if he's not played with, and then go up to a 90. He'll end up being drafted as a top 5-6 round player possibly and never see the field. So there's 2 ways this works. Senior year, I put him on the field. If he makes it that far, he probably won't, and I get to play with him, or he gets drafted and gives all my quarterbacks a bonus. But since my scrambling quarterbacks won't give the bonus, I got to bring in improvisers and really field generals to go ahead and do that. And keep in mind, when looking at this, if you don't understand or you don't know how to look at the spreadsheet or you don't have access to it, it's very simple. Player archetypes. If you want to know which ones grow the fastest, look at what their fast buckets are relative to their position. Quarterbacks value accuracy the most, IQ, like that's what they value the most when it comes to their overall rating. So field generals upgrade that the quickest, so they're going to grow the quickest. Wide receivers, they value route running the most, right? Route running in hands. Route running archetype wide receivers upgrade that the quickest. They don't value other stuff as much, right? Same thing with a cornerback. A man cornerback is going to upgrade man coverage quickly, but a cornerback to upgrade quickly needs man and zone to get a high overall. Guess what? Slot corners, they upgrade man and zone at a quick rate because they're slot and they should do both. So guess what? Those are the ones that grow the quickest. So just keep that in mind when picking up players. For the meantime, if you don't know how to do it, just look at their fast buckets and look at what their position technically should do well. Now, of course, guys, development trait still does matter. Don't think it doesn't matter, but development trait to me is being misinterpreted for its Madden meaning. So in Madden, if you were an elite dev guy, which was X Factor, you were just going to grow super quick. Like everything you did, just you grew quick. You were going to be an elite player. If you were a star dev player, everything you did would basically grow, or superstar, but you wanted to make sure that you got all the way up to elite. Otherwise, you wouldn't grow the way you wanted. In this game, first off, dev traits are locked, so they are what they are. Second, dev traits in this game develops at the fastest rate. Just means when you play with them, you can kind of override what they have. So let's say, for instance, this quarterback Terrell, or this running back Terrell. He's going to grow quickly in general because he was unstat capped. He was a running back. But if I put up 3K, 2K yards with him, and I get a lot of touchdowns with him, those skill points in the top right corner are going to keep growing because he's elite. So for me, dev trait to me matters most in terms of playing with the player. That's just me. If I'm playing with the player physically, it matters most. All these guys, star dev, exactly, like they're going to just grow pretty well, star and elite, because you're playing with them and you're getting XP. So for me, what matters is depending on their position. So at quarterback, I want my quarterback to always be star dev or better. I want my halfback to be star dev or better. Wide receivers, tight end. O-line, I don't care as much. As long as your stat caps are okay, like they're not trash. As long as your stat caps aren't trash and you have potential to grow, I'm happy no matter what your dev trait is. And I'm relying more on end of the season XP, motivator packages, and just the luck of the draw versus where quarterback, running back, wide receiver, I'm going to be stat padding them and trying to physically grow them myself. So keep that in mind with dev traits. It's still important. It still plays a role. But at the end of the day, it's not the most important thing like I think it's been in years past. I've had elite dev guys that stuck at 83 overall. Why? Because I didn't play them much. So what that taught me was this. So they were I had an elite dev corner that barely played. He stayed at like an 83, 84 and ended up graduating with nothing. He should have just grown because he was elite, right? So that's not the case. They still have to play for that elite dev to play into role. If not, you're just getting the luck of the draw, off-season XP type stuff for drafted bonuses. So he wasn't getting drafted bonuses. He wasn't playing. Taught me all I need to know about dev traits. So definitely keep that in mind. The next thing, guys, like I said, I mentioned it briefly before with that draft bonus. That draft bonus is one of the biggest things. So make sure when you're looking at your roster assortment that you're always setting yourself up for a better draft spot to get your bonus. So if you go through my team here, I'm going to show you guys a few things that I would do. So typically right here, I have this guy Terrell that I really like. Really love this running back, but I really wanted to start playing Dan Lett. Dan Lett gets, platinum shifty if I do upgrade him because his COD actually has more room to grow. So I did want to start building this guy, but Terrell is at 94 overall. If I keep playing with him, I'm just going to get him as a guaranteed first round, first overall pick, and it's going to give a huge boost to everyone else. So I rather actually finish my season with Terrell and Gentile, who I'm starting. These are my two running backs right now. I'd rather build them up a little bit more, get them drafted this offseason, then bring Lett in on the next season in his senior year as a maxed out player because he's going to be an 87, plus potentially 2 first round running backs. If I can get 2 first and then maybe a second round running back off, Lett will probably blow up to a 93 overall and be absolutely elite. So make sure you're looking at your roster composition. For instance, maybe I want to start this freshman right here, but I had an 89 overall wide receiver that's already ready to go to start building. I'd rather use that 89 wide receiver and actually give him one more season to get him above 90 to get him drafted. And you're going to want to do this across your entire roster because you want that draft bonus. That I've noticed it 100 times. When I see like, okay, if I see my cornerback, this guy right here, go in the first round next year, you'll see that all the cornerbacks below him get a good boost because they all get an XP bonus from being drafted early in the first 3 rounds. That's where that bonus motivator package is that you purchased. So now that you purchased it, you want to be able to put it into play. So you're going to want to do that across. There are some cheesy ways to do this. Let's say, for instance, you have a tight end that's a really good blocking tight end or a left tackle. If you have a left tackle that's a pretty good blocking left tackle like this guy right here, you could switch his position to tight end and he'll end up going to like a 90 plus overall blocking tight end, which means he'll then at the end of the season get drafted as a first, second, or third round tight end that gives all your tight ends a boost. So you can cheese it that way. Same thing with cornerback, same things with DTs. You can switch players too. So now another question I was getting is, does the boost go to the whole position group? So like if your left tackle gets drafted, do all of them get it? No, only your left tackle gets it. Like your left guard, centers, right guards don't. So let's say, for instance, this guy's going to be drafted first round. This guy in his senior year will be drafted first round. I may want to actually just like preemptively switch this right tackle over to a position group where I'm getting nothing. Like left tackle. If I know, or right here, this guy's a freshman, he's going to grow, but you guys get the point. If I want guys to grow, I want to move seniors around or juniors that are going to be drafted soon and start moving them around to positions that will be drafted. For instance, a middle linebacker, let's say Holyfield is going to be drafted first round, but so is this guy. I would move Holyfield over to maybe left outside linebacker. move him here so that I can get this guy Barco, the freshman, a big boost, as well as this guy if he wasn't a senior. So you guys get the point. Just make sure you're moving players around to spots to make sure you maximize your draft potential. Of course, you can double up in one spot, but if you have a freshman left outside linebacker like this guy that maybe I really want to grow, quick jump, power rusher, former 5-star, I probably want to get a guy over there to give him a boost, because otherwise he's going to grow really slowly, because this guy's not going to give him a boost. Another thing, when you get to the encourage transfer screen, you want to be doing this. Get rid of players that have no future. So for instance, this guy's Silver. If he's not going to be playing on, if he's not starting for me, which he isn't, and he's maxed out and he's 84 overall, he's not getting drafted. When we go to the encourage transfer screen, I'm going to lean actually kicking this guy off instead of kicking like a lower overall guy, because you never know. This game, again, the last part of this video, there's luck. Luck's involved. It's a matter of what the algorithm decides they're going to put their skill points to, their XP towards, how big your bonus is going to be this year. So for instance, if I was moving people here, I may take a look at this guy who's a junior 86 and be, okay, he's obviously a junior, but he can't be drafted, but he still has his senior year. If one of these guys above him could take a huge boost and they could be an elite senior, so I'm not touching them. What I end up looking for is like, okay, let me go through this DT. This guy's a senior at an 88 overall. If I wasn't starting him, I may consider getting rid of him. Obviously, this guy's pretty solid, but on my current roster, I'm not starting him. In my 3-4 setup, Hagen's not starting. He probably won't be drafted, but he's an 88, so you may want to hold him for depth, but you want to be doing that analysis for every single position, and that's what I do each and every year. I go through and I see who may need to get the cut, who is going to not grow much more, because you want to be drafted. So the threshold for drafted really for me is like 89 plus. If they're 89 plus as a senior, they might get drafted. 89 plus as a junior, you're good to go, because in their senior year they'll grow and they'll get drafted. If they're a senior below 87 overall, they're on my chopping block, because I want to be able to keep guys. I want to keep those young guys in there, or those sophomores, or those juniors who have good stat caps who could get a big senior boost, because that'll give you more draftability. What I've seen people do is they keep those seniors or those really bad juniors on their roster, and what ends up happening is when it comes time for draft season for them to go, all they do is graduate. They just graduate and they give you no bonus, and then what ends up happening is all those other guys that you got rid of were younger or had potential. Selling essentially a young wave pipeline of people coming up who had the potential to be draftable players, and ended up keeping depth pieces or filler block pieces or like bridge gap players that aren't going to be drafted. So essentially you killed your soon to be bonus and your future bonus. So you end up going through like a 3-4 year lull of like no big upgrades. And I actually did this earlier in my Dynasty. Years like 3 through 6, I wasn't getting a lot of offseason bonuses, and I was like, why? I was getting rid of younger guys who I thought were kind of trash at the time, but they had potential, and then keeping building block depth guys that I weren't starting. So make sure you do analyze that. But guys, that's basically it. This is my updated guide. The spreadsheets on that website will give you a lot more details in terms of you keeping it in your back pocket and just looking at it all day versus me just saying it. But it just basically breaks it down. But guys, that's about it for the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn that noti bell. Can we get 500 likes in this video? Comment down below if you have anything else to add. And of course, guys, stay on the lookout for the website. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.